All right. Happy Saturday, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of Caribbean American Diaspora Vibes. We are in for a rainy, stormy, thundering, lightning, crazy Saturday evening as we're hearing. So we're going to just give God thanks and blessings that we've got internet and that we get through tonight. And because tonight is a very special. I know all our nights or evenings are special, but this Saturday is extra special because it's all about voting, getting out and voting. Our votes matter. Our votes are crucial. So thank you. My name is Donna Morton Morgan, and I am the president of Caribbean American Diaspora Alliance, president of Women of Culture Incorporated, real estate broker of Florida Summer Homes Realty, and mindset coach at Inner Vibes Consulting. Thank you. We've got Dr. Bavon Debreo that's in the background with us, our radio host, Louis Witter with Caribbean Rhythms Radio Network is going to be joining us late this afternoon. And we're going to jump right on to our guests because they've got places to be. This is a very busy political weekend as you know it. With that, we're going to jump on and we want to introduce you to Mr. Jimmy Torres Vibez. And he's going to take a few minutes to tell us about who he is and his work. And then we're going to jump on to Ms. Coy Jones. And then you're going to hear from Mr. Albert Robinson. So you've got some awesome political geniuses, if I may say, that we're going to hear from tonight. So with that, we'll jump on Mr. Jimmy Torres. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. I am so pleased to be here with you guys and to be part of the beginning of something very strong, which is organize everyone separate, but with an idea of togetherness. And I believe the way that I compare what we're trying to build is when you build a mondongo or a sancocho in Dominican words, which is a gumbo in English. A pot full of different flavors, but it will take you the whole day without having another meal. Poor people meals are meals that are very strong to keep you up working all day. African and American, African descendant and Caribbean people, they learn to work all day with a little bit of food. So this is the kind of thing that we need to make sure that we create. We create something that is very strong, that keep us together, but at the same time to keep us with our own flavor. When I came to the United States, I learned in many states that you have a thing called Hispanic, but at the same time you have the Mexicans, the Salvadorians, the Puerto Ricans, and being Puerto Rican, we decided to create Boricua Bota, and we create other organizations in Florida to make sure that we incorporate the 1.2 million Puerto Ricans that live in Florida. That could be a big difference in the election. 10 years have passed, and we have over 20 elected officials all over Florida when it was only a couple. Today, there's in the primaries, we have probably 10 candidates all over Florida running for Congress in different parties, but they are running, which is interesting that they're running for different, all the way to Homestead, where we have Robert Asensio running for Congress, a Puerto Rican that live in Miami, all the way here that we have among us, a little crazy friend of mine who's running for Congress as a Republican. His name is Al Santos. So in District 7. But, we have difference, but at the same time, if he made it, we will have a language and we will have a history that we can work around. I know that Coy have the experience of working with some people that don't think like her, but we need to work with them in Tallahassee. So this is what we need to build. We need to build an alliance that need to be working with the parties and outside of the parties that have our own flavor and our own agenda. What about that for beginning? Good enough?
Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much. And the work. So you work throughout the state of Florida, Jimmy, or a certain area?
All over Florida. All over Florida. We have people all over Florida. There's 66 counties. I think like in 64, we have contacts. We have someone that is working or that we know that it could help for any event or activities.
Okay.
Available to help whatever you need, Donna, and Albert is whatever Albert said, I will do.
So you can help us by, in Spanish, telling the community how important it is to get out and vote before you. I know you've got another form you got to get to.
Every day I have a radio program that I will, pass the information on the Caribbean Alliance. That there's many Caribbean that speak several languages. Right. That's impressive. The people from Haiti, they speak English, Spanish, and Creole, and people from Trinidad, they speak Spanish, English, and Creole from Trinidad. And we can go on, and it's the multilingual opportunity that we have to talk to some people, and those people will share the information to others as well. So you can count on me, and I have a radio program from Monday to Friday. So you are all invited to come from 6 to 7 p.m. Thank you.
Okay. So while we have you on the show, before you leave, can you give the message in Spanish to get out and vote?
No dejes que te quiten tu voz. Go out and vote. Your voice is your vote. Tu voz es tu voto. Tu voz es tu voto. Tu voz es tu voto. In the case of Boricuas, Puerto Ricans, we say Boricua, vota. Thank you.
Yes, I love it. Appreciate you.
Bye, Corey. Bye, Albert.
Have a good evening. Have a good evening.
Sorry that I have to leave.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. All right, so kicking off, get out and vote campaign. It's important. We know it's the primary, and so most people are probably like, why do we even have to vote? So Koi, between you and Albert, tell us, why is it? Because people are going, well, some people don't even know they've got to vote this coming week, right? So tell us a little bit about the primary. Is it important, or just wait till November?
For me?
Yes, go ahead.
First, let me introduce myself. Good evening. My name is Koi Jones. I serve as the political director for 1199 SEIU, which is the largest healthcare worker union in the state of Florida. We have 25 plus workers that we represent, and a little over 11,000 retirees that have migrated from the north down here, and Mr. Albert is one of them. So primary, like, why is voting so important? Jimmy said it best, right? Your voice is your vote. And I don't have to tell this audience why voting is important, because we all know our ancestors fought very hard for us to even have the right to go cast a ballot. And there's still people that look like me and you that are still fighting to get their rights to go vote. I don't know if y'all just saw the news, but our governor just arrested 20 people for trying to go vote. And his accusation is that their rights weren't restored, right? So when we see the tactics, not just here in the state of Florida, but across the country, really to just suppress the vote. And, if there's ever a moment where you need to exercise your voice, it is now, because our rights are not guaranteed, as you see. We have a lot of characters trying to make sure that our voices don't get heard. So the primary is extremely important. Also because it is the opportunity in the state as a registered voter, whatever party you're in, that you get to actually vote for the best candidate in your party, right? So it's essential, one, because it helps make sure that the candidate that you really think is going to speak up for your issues and represent you, make sure that they get over the finish line. So that's why the primary is so important. And if you don't know, I'm going to keep saying this throughout the course of the evening, is that we have today, actually, you have about 45 more minutes. If you haven't voted yet, you can actually go to a poll right now to our early voting location. They are all open until 7 p.m. And then tomorrow is your last day to early vote. The polls are open, I believe, from 11 to 7, depending on where you are. And then you have election day, which is Tuesday, the 23rd, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So you have three opportunities between now and Tuesday to make sure that your voice gets heard in this primary.
All right. So till tomorrow, same time, did you say 7?
Sundays are a little bit different, just depending on where you are. But I think most polls open between 10 and 11 on Sunday, and close, I think, around 6 or 7. But I'm going to drop a link in the chat where you can actually go and research and find what time your early voting locations are opened tomorrow.
Okay. All right. So thank you for also introducing yourself, Coy, and thank you for joining the call in such last minute. We appreciate that. And so let's now also introduce Mr. Albert Robinson, who is also new to Caribbean American Diaspora, and he's going to be leading up our civic and political committee. So welcome, Albert. Tell us a little snippet about you, your history, and then we'll do a little bit more political talk.
Thank you so much. First, I just want to thank Coy for my friend. We go way back, and a lot of things that I know politically, I was being taught under the leadership of Coy. I'm not ashamed to say that. Coy, I really do appreciate you coming on at the last minute and looking forward for your help and days and months and years to come. First, I just want to say thank you so much for this opportunity to identify myself, who I am, and what are some of the things that I've been doing over the years. My son has sickle cell. The reason why I get involved politically and otherwise, my son has sickle cell. He was diagnosed with sickle cell, and I saw him suffer over the years, and he has to be hospitalized like every 2 months. And when I go to the hospital, see other children his age suffer. So I said that I really, really want to make a difference in to educate people about sickle cell. So I used to go to the different colleges and churches and to the park and talk to childbearing age people about sickle cell and how you get sickle cell, that if 2 people have the trait, is a 90% chance that you will bring forth the child with sickle cell. So we try to educate people. And I've watched many, many people with sickle cell suffer over the years. So I put together in 2009 an organization by the name of New York Community Alliance for Sickle Cell Anemia. I have a doctor and also have a nurse on the board, and they would talk about anything health-wise. I'm not allowed to talk about health issues because I'm not qualified to, so I would talk about things as a parent and how to have meetings and support one another as parents. And after I've been in 1199 for 40 years, and because of 1199 with health care, I was able to have health insurance and because the average people who have sickle cell lifespan, they're lucky if they reach 40 years old.
Excuse me, Albert, when you say 1199 for most people, that's union, right?
Yeah, that's a union. 1190 IU. It's a union. And like I said, most people who have sickle cell, they're lucky if they reach age 40. But because I have a good health insurance, my son is over 40 right now, and I have to thank 1199 for being there for me when I really needed 1199. So after being a member of 1199, I get really political, because most of the benefit that we receive is because of those people that 1199 endorse. And because they endorse them, they work in our best interest, because oftentimes we support people who do not have our best interest at heart. So after joining 1199, I learned to be more active politically. And right now I am the MPO for Orlando, a members political organizer. I am the chairperson for the retiree. We have over 400 retirees in Orlando. And as Coy said before, we have over 11,000 in Florida. So I become very active politically, because if you don't vote and have other people to, a matter of fact, I just want to bring something to your attention. 59 years ago, a man named Medgar Evers was assassinated because he's trying to get our people to vote. You have the late John Lewis, who was a congressman. He was beaten and put to jail for fighting for the right for us to vote. So it is very, very, very important to go out and vote. And we think that it's only the general election is important, but like I said before, in the primary, we get this opportunity to choose the best candidate to run for whichever party we so want to, which, you know, I'm Democrat. So we get a chance to vote for those people. And now I'm so happy that I'm a part of this organization. And we'll be out there trying to organize Caribbean people so that we will hold those people who are elected accountable. That we're not just going to give them our vote just like this. We will hold you accountable. It can help by voting for the right person. We can help our country. What do I mean by this? A few years ago, we went to Washington to talk to the Congress people about immigration reform. And oftentimes people from other countries get more opportunity to go to the embassy and get privilege to come to the United States, because they have people who they put in office who look out for their best interests. And over the years, we are voting and give us our vote away, and we're not holding our elected official accountable no more. Because if God help me, I will try to organize and energize people, our people, and talk about the importance. I will never stop talking about the importance of voting. You cannot sit down and let people doing what you should do. You don't vote, you don't have a voice. And we do have a voice, it's just that we don't know how to use the power that we have. Right. So I just thank you so much for this privilege, this opportunity to work, because that's what I do best. I've been in this political business. If I have to go door to door and knock, I will go. I'm 76-year-old now, but I'm still young and I still have a lot left, because we will never, never stop until we get what we want.
Donna, if I may, just real quick, I just want to put a period dot on that from Mr. Albert, but also just add another key reason why the primary is so important is because a lot of your local elections are decided in August, right? So that's from like your sheriff to your school board, to your city and your county commissioners. A lot of these races are decided in August, right? And they don't really go to November. So that's another reason why the primary is so important, because all politics is local. And as you know, and as you've seen in the media, our school boards have been under attack. A lot of self-proclaimed Proud Boys are currently vying for these positions at the local level because they think that they can really change, you know, they can make significant changes at the local level, right? It's a smart thing, right? But we need to know why it's so important to vote on the primary, because we need to make sure we push back on anybody trying to come into our schools and take away education and take away books and do all those types of things, right? So yeah, primaries are extremely important because your most important races at the local level decided them.
All right, so I know we've got some, I'm gonna go through, there's a website to see the races. Well, this just gives you from the top up, and this is for the names are Democrat, Republicans, you know, nonpartisan, independent. Not, some of these are, you know, roll into election. We know there's, and you know, we always remind individuals that we are a nonprofit, so we individually, we all will all have our independent stand, but as the organization, we are nonpartisan. The governor, we've got Charlie Crist, Candace Daniel, Nikki Fried, Robert Willis, and then I'm seeing Commissioner of Agriculture, Naomi Esther Blimer, J.R. Galliot, Ryan Morales, James Shaw. I don't know if any of these names are sounding. Wilton Simpson, Attorney General, Aramis Ayala, Jim Lewis, Daniel Felder. And then let's see, that's probably for the General Congress, U.S. Senate. We have Val Demings, Ricardo De La Fuente, Brian Rush, William Sanchez. Some names we've heard before. You know, District 7 for the U.S. House does a lot of names. So a lot of people running, so that's good. Erica Benfield, Brady Duke, Ted Edwards, Hilda Fernandez, Karen Green, Al Krulik, Corey Mills, Alex Pastrana, Rusty Roberts, Anthony Sabatini, Scott Sturgill, Daniel Webster, District 8, Daniel Dodge, Joanne Terry, District 9. Some of us, you know, this is all over. So you.
Yeah, I mean, I think why you see so many names, especially at the state level. I don't know if your audience knows, but we just went through a redistricting process. This happens every so often. Both parties get to submit maps and draw maps. And just so the folks know, like redistricting takes place usually after the census. Why? Because it's the first count every 10 years. We get to see how many, you know, folks have moved into the Central Florida area, right? And like, who are they? What do they look like, right? And like, what needs need to be met, right, based on the census. And so we go through this process to make sure that each district is represented fairly, right? In each district, you would think that the person that represents you should kind of look like you, you know, think like you, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Come from the same, you know, area, neighborhood, you know, these are the people that we send up to Tallahassee and we send to DC to represent us. So a large part of that process is about representation, right? And this is why we have an electoral college, right? And this is why we have so many votes per county, and every amount of registered voters, there has to be a representative attached to those voters, right? So we just went through this process at the state level. A lot of, both sides of the aisle drew maps. What ultimately happened was Governor DeSantis drew his own map. And it ultimately is the map and the lay of the land now. There are people still trying to argue that in court, but this is what it is. And so when that happens, when redistricting happens, everybody at the state level has to run again. Everybody. Wow. So that means every single state Senate seat, every single state House seat is up for re-election. Right.
Oh, so that's why there's like,
so many races up for grabs, right? And we're in a midterm year, so we already know our United States representatives here in Florida, they automatically have to run every 2 years. So this is why those seats are up. And I'm not here to advocate because I understand the space. But what I will say is most important is that this year we get to elect or vote, right, from the top of the ticket in our state, which is our governor's race, all the way down to dog catcher, soil and water, right? Like all the way down, up and down the ticket. Every race is crucial. And I think for me personally, as a Black woman, as a political director for one of the largest healthcare worker unions in the state, and who is somebody who's lived through the COVID during the past couple of years, representing healthcare workers, understanding all the things that they have been going through and continue to go through as the heroes that they are. There are few people that will go into Tallahassee come January that will represent them. There's only a few people that I can see that can make that happen, right? And I think you have a choice in this election. You have a choice to stick with a party or a governor who basically for healthcare workers just took away a half an hour of care to our most vulnerable patients here in the state by cutting staffing, diluting staffing from 2.5 to now 2 hours of care. Every patient in the building only gets 2 hours of care. You literally took time away from caregivers to give care, right? Or is it a party that literally told us that books that teach our heritage and teach our history and teach us who we are and keep us connected to really who we are books that threaten other people and that they can't be used in our schools, right? We've had leadership for decades now that has systematically diluted our ability to vote from not allowing organizations to come give people water when they standing on line to vote. I think there's a clear choice here. We've had people that have been in office for over decades doing the same things, making rich people rich and keeping poor people poor. And I think the choice is very clear from the top of the ticket down. And what's at risk right now is one, our ability to be able to use our voices slowly being taken away from us. And I think what's really at stake is that the Floridians who live in Florida, who are literally thinking about leaving the state because the rent is too high and they can't afford property insurance or to buy a home. We have Floridians who are literally leaving the state to go work as healthcare professionals because our state isn't paying them what they deserve. and what they need, right? So we are losing like for good, hardworking Floridians, and I think what's at the back on the ballot box this August is workers and worker rights. And then at this time, if at any time have we not seen the surge of working Floridians really taking ownership of their lives and saying, I'm not going to stand up for this anymore. That's why the beauty of unions, and the fact that Donna, my sister Donna, unions are here, right? And that everyone deserves a union, and that we need to have the ability in this state to organize, because obviously we've seen that no one's really protecting workers out here, and it has to be incumbent upon us as workers to protect ourselves, right? So I think that's on the ballot, and that's why I think it's so important that folks go out and cast their vote today, tomorrow, and if not today and tomorrow, you better go do it Tuesday.
Yeah, definitely respect that. I love your passion behind this, Koi. And it's needed, right? Because these issues affect the everyday individual, the normal working, hardworking person, educators, healthcare, you know? So it's critical that we don't, because usually people will just go, oh, it's not important. And then they go, how did we get here? How did we end up? What happened? You know, and it's, oh, you didn't vote. So you didn't realize that primaries XYZ happened. What can we do about it?
And somebody's making real decisions for you. Right. And if anything, your vote will at least let them know that you can't go up here and make decisions for me without having some level of accountability to what Mr. Albert was speaking to.
Right. You know, because if you have children, so you may think if you've got children, you've got grandchildren, you know, it's important. Because we see the direction, we see, the culture, the US and in a whole, I believe we're in a very negative, hateful culture. And I think our children are even seeing this. And usually we're the ones that tell the children, like, don't be like this and don't be like that. But then they're seeing adults be hateful and bitter and negative, and we're really not setting a good example. So we definitely need to work on our culture. We've got important issues, women's rights. We've got gun laws, protection. Yes, in the state of Florida right now, most people can't afford even a 1-bedroom. I'm a real estate broker, and I have individuals that all of a sudden they can't qualify. The heroes, which we usually work with, the law enforcement, medical teachers, those individuals are basically like out of the game for trying to buy a home. These individuals that work 12 hours a day, tirelessly putting their lives at risk, and they can't afford. And then you talk about rent. So yes, they are having to leave to live.
Yep.
So these are critical issues we've got, where the insurance is that again can put homeowners at risk of foreclosure, because you've had your insurance at, say, $1,000 for the last 20 years or 15 years, and you're on a budget. So for those seniors and those people on a strict budget, now that insurance just jumped from $1,000 a year to $2,000 a year or $3,000 a year, because of the roof issues. And so think about, you have to replace a roof every 15 years now to not have your insurance. So we really need even better laws on something like that, because those individuals, if you're on a fixed budget and your escrow it's thrown off, you now can't afford your mortgage. So there are little domino effects that happen that we don't really talk about, and we do need advocates that are interested in the everyday people.
You ain't lying, Donna. You ain't lying. You ain't lying. I mean, I think what I will say to your point is that I tell folks this all the time. What we're seeing is nothing new. It just looks different. All the things that we're feeling, the inflation, just the sense of apathy, tired. We just came out of COVID. It's like we just woke up from this deep sleep and everybody's just stretching and trying to, figure it out. But the things that we're seeing, the problems that we're seeing are nothing new. And again, they just look different, right? So I think, what is incumbent upon us is, that's why I love this country. We live in a democratic society. We have a set of laws, good and bad, right? But we have bench, like we have, what's the word I'm looking for? We have systems that are put into place to checks and balances, right? And I think what is crucial about this moment is that we actually have power. We really do. Like, we have power as individuals and we have power collectively. And I'm speaking in the sense it's just labor with workers. Like, we literally right now have huge opportunities to really organize people on the things that they really care about, right? Get people really motivated and concerned and civically engaged, all of that, right? In this moment, because of all the things that are being thrown at us that are facing us. And I think a large part of this political process is, yes, voting. Yes, it is going to go cast your ballot, but it's also, what do you do once this person is in office to make sure that they doing what they said they were supposed to do and that they have your interests at heart, right? And that's a large part of the civic engagement that I would say we as Black folk don't, or descendants of Africa, really don't participate in, is in that once they're in office, how are we making sure that they're doing all the things, creating solutions, finding solutions to the real problems that we have that you just spoke to, Donna, right? We have to be the ones that advocate and push and make things difficult when we're not seeing progression and we're not seeing our issues being addressed. That is what I love about this country, is because I can go to Tallahassee and I can go meet with my elected official and tell them I don't like what they're doing, right? And what's beautiful about this union, and Mr. Albert will tell you, is that 1199 SEIU, Service Employees International Union, is an international union. We have over almost 2.1 million members across the United States, Puerto Rico, which is included in the United States, but the island of Puerto Rico, and Canada, right? Like, we are a powerful voting bloc and a powerful set of people, and we use our power before they get into office and after they get out of office, right? Once elections are over, we're getting ready to go into 2023 with the legislative session, right? Where we know that workers will be under attack again, right? Our right to organize will be under attack. Our ability to fight for pensions and higher wages will always be a fight for us here in the state. And it is incumbent upon us, once we elect these people come November in the general, that we now turn around and go up to Tallahassee in March and let them know, like, this is what healthcare workers care about. And the one thing, and I'm gonna stop here, is the one thing I will tell you, again, why I love this country, is that you can come to our elected body with solutions and they'll listen, right? Like, that is what democracy looks like all day, every day, is that me Coy Jones, who lives in Apopka, Florida, can go and write policy, draft policy, work with an elected official to draft policy, get things passed like real time, like real in our state legislature. I mean, it's a powerful thing, and it's a thing that I if I could leave this conversation saying is that I would love for everybody to feel empowered, that you can actually make a difference, not just by voting, but actually being a part of the process, right? If your street light is out and somebody keeps crashing and hitting your children, you need to go to your mayor and your county commission and tell them that this stoplight is bad and they need to fix it, right? Like that is the level of engagement that we need to have, or else we will continue to see people who don't look like us or think like us or have the same interests or issues as us continue to be elected, because we're not doing that second part, right? And that's accountability.
It's so interesting the way you broke it down, because most people think that the regular normal citizen has no say, but just the way you broke it down to say, okay, with what is going on in my community, I can now write a letter, I can, go to Tallahassee, I can get involved. So you don't have to just say, well, because I'm not elected, I have no say. Definitely telling you, you do have say. You can.
You the boss. To be quite honest, I pay your paycheck. I pay your healthcare insurance. Legitimately, you have to listen to me.
Wow.
You have to, right? I mean, and you should feel empowered with that. Walk in the room with that feeling. Mm-hmm. I pay your paycheck, right? I mean, this, that's what I love about this country. You know what I mean?
I think some people understand that, and maybe that's why you see some people over and over, and you're like, why are these people always, up, in front of people? But then a lot of us don't know it, and we just sit back and let whatever takes place, and we have no say. We complain among each other and not to the right people who have the ears that can do anything about it. So get involved, get interested, get active politically. Don't just sit back and complain at home with the family at Thanksgiving and complain, and then you don't vote. So it's like, oh, you're not really, you're okay. So thank you so much for stressing that point that we can get involved on a little level. And then when we do vote, and those that are in power, we need to hold them accountable, because they do come to us and say, yeah, if you vote for me, you're going to get XYZ. And then guess what? It doesn't happen. And we kind of just give up, because we're like, look, see,
mm-hmm.
happened. They just, that's the nature of the game. But you got to keep fighting. Look, how many years have Albert been in the fight and continues to fight? And the way he started off fighting, so you don't have to even be, I'm not in the political realm. He started off fighting because of a personal inspiration. And then he saw work, he saw results, and it motivated him to continue. So, I'm going to just say, I'm going to read off before we get to Mr. Albert again. District 10, we've got 50 million people. Jack, Jeffrey Boone, Randolph Gracie, Corrine Brown. This one is a really big. District 10 has been in the news repeatedly. Maxwell, Alejandro Foss, Terrence Gray, Alan Grayson, Natalie Jackson, La Teresa Jones, Tuan Lee, Toy, Lo, Willie Montague, Munir, Teresa, I can't say some of the name, Calvin, Wimbish, but District 10 has been one of those that's been in the news.
Yeah. Does the audience know why?
Tell us.
So I talked about redistricting. Governor DeSantis maps, which is the map, the law of the land, when he drew the districts, he cut two key African American congressional districts. That was Congressional District 5, which is like Jacksonville area, and Congressional District 10. Congressional District 10 is like Ocoee, Apopka, North Orlando, your Pine Hills, your part of Winter Garden, like where our black, like where our descendants of African, Caribbean, Islander, Haitian, like that's where we live in the part of this, county, like that's where we live.
Yeah.
And he purposefully redrew them and basically cut these districts so now they don't have as many Black folk in them. And that's facts. So I am actually a victim of this redrawing. I live in Apopka. I now do not live in Congressional District 10 anymore.
Oh.
So my representation does not look like me. Not even think like me. And I don't care. I will say it. The person that is currently holding this office scares me. He's like gun-toting. So sorry to get personal there. But yeah, that is the reason. And that district is so important because it covers so many of us. And I think it's beautiful that I see all these beautiful Black people running in this seat. And that's why the primary is so important. We got to make sure whoever your favorite candidate is gets over the finish line, because you see how many people are running in that race. Yeah, but this is why you're hearing Congressional District 10 so much, and it is Val Deming's current seat.
Right. Okay. So yeah, another hot one was District 41, Bruce Antone, Pam Powell, Shanika Rose. So some areas we've got lots of course, Supreme Court, Circuit Courts. We've had a previous Meet Your Political Candidate on too. So we were able to have some people on candidates from different areas. Or Orange County Mayor is also Jerry Demings, Chris Messina, Tony Saab, Kelly Semram, running Orange County Commission, District 2. We've got Christopher Delgado, Sandra Fatmi Hall, Christine Moore. District 6 is another top one. Rosemary Deal, Lawana Gelzer, Cynthia Harris, Roberta Walton Johnson, Nikki Mims McGee, Heather, Pierre Joseph, Mike Scott. So we've got, this is a very interesting active year. And these campaigns are not easy, just even to get out there and to get involved, and the time. I mean, you guys also put in so much work as activists, and back and forth driving. Every time I talk to Albert, he's back and forth. I'm driving here, I'm going here, I'm meeting here. So the work and the passion that you all do, just to even push, but because you're behind the scenes, the importance, because we're just, a lot of us are just kind of laid back, and these races are critical.
This is who will represent you.
And we see the foolishness that has been just going around. We have to represent, we have to get out, we have to make our voices count.
Got a very good point. Lots of disinformation, misinformation going on out there, which is a large part of the organization that I'm out doing electoral campaign work, is Florida for All. And a lot of the work is really getting into the spaces and places that, people like me who politicos and like see the same faces, how are we getting into those counties that we normally don't talk to people? How are we getting into those apartment complexes where we normally don't talk to those folks? Like, how are we really touching people that we haven't touched before? So a large part of, you know, our work this election cycle is who's influencing our communities. We know that Black people are not a monolith. You know, even though we are descendants of Africa, we do not all think the same. We do not all act the same. You know, we do things differently. We don't all pray the same, right? But we Black, right? And you know, a large part of this is how are we talking to you know, our Caribbean community, right? I'm not an islander, right? I was born and raised in Atlantic City, New Jersey. So like I'm not in the same communities, right, that Mr. Albert may be in, or Donna, you might be in, but people hear y'all, they listen to y'all, they respect you as the people that you are. So a large part of my work is touching base and getting into spaces like this. So I'm thankful for this opportunity, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to talk to your audience, right? And to educate them on why voting is so important. But now I understand I have Donna and Albert here in this space, and I hope that I can encourage y'all to influence other people to go and vote. And those people influence other people to go and vote, right? It's all about like, who are you as a person, and how are you really connecting with your networks and the people that actually listen to you and respect you, and you being that advocate, right? That person in the moment right now where you're actually taking your time to go and teach and really, you know, really lift other people up in this cycle to make sure that they go and vote and that their voices are heard.
Yeah, you know, I was at the beach today. I really could have just hung out and, well, the weather probably would have scared us off. But, you know, when things are important, you make time. You just have to, you got to do it when you've got a love for community. And, you know, we love our community on a whole. We love our Caribbean American community. And yes, people will listen to their communities, just like Hispanic community will listen to their leaders and so forth. You know, people are just trained like that. And our Caribbean American community, that's why we do what we do, because they are listening and they're watching and they're, you know, so we want you to, as you go out tomorrow and then Tuesday, you know, we've got a campaign that Jimmy suggested, Jimmy Torres, is to rep your flag, because we as a people, we go out, you see my flag in the background, right? Jamaica. Wherever we go, it's how we communicate with each other. Like, here we are in this big United States, and you're from this country and that country, and that's just how we communicate in this foreign land. So we rep our flags everywhere, but a lot of times it's carnivals and it's fun places, right? But rep your flags at the polls, you know, take a selfie and you've got your voter sticker, but go ahead and rep the flag. So just to say that, yes, Caribbean votes matter. You know, yes, we're not just here for the partying and the fetes and the carnivals. We are serious people. We are building, growing. We're, you know, home ownership, businesses, etc., nonprofits. We are strong force, and to be taken seriously, though, we do need to, on this side, we need to step it up, and we need to hold people accountable, right? So, and let our voices be heard. So that is our message from Caribbean American Diaspora Alliance, is get out and vote, rep your flag. If you're a Trinidad, if you're Guyana, Jamaica, Haiti, Bahamas, Antigua, wherever you're at, rep your flag. And yes, we live in the United States, so it's our Caribbean country saying we are for, because we were born in the Caribbean, but we're raised or we work here. So this is where we give back. Now we pay our taxes and everything, but we can't get away from our Caribbean culture. So that is our message today. Get out and vote. You've got tomorrow. You can go after church. If you can't get off on Tuesday, it's probably best. And or if you're one of those that like to wait till Tuesday, go ahead, but rep your flag. Okay, don't do it just for you're out here carnival time, fun time. This is serious. This affects your carnival and all that fun time.
Okay.
Right?
You better come on, Donna. You ain't lying with that one.
Yes, yes. So we have to get more serious with that. And so I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Albert Robinson to just tell us wrap it up in the last few words of, with his passion of why we need to get out this for this primary.
Well, thank you again for this privilege, this opportunity. Most of what I really want to say, Coy have already said it. He leave no stone unturned. He turned all the stone. Thank you again, Coy. I really do appreciate you. This question is for Coy. Is affordable housing is on the ballot?
Yes, if you live in Orange County, it is. Well, it is as of right now. So for the folks that don't know, Orange County, community partners such as 1189, Florida Rising, Central Florida Jobs with Justice, Dream Defenders, SEIU, all of the locals pretty much in the SEIU have been fighting for Si Habla Español, a lot of organizations that have really been doing the work. And I want to make sure I give folks credit. And if I forgot, don't beat me. But for the past 4 years, have been really working hard to, figure out how to alleviate some of the stress and the ever rising rent increases that people have been facing over the past 4 years. A large part due to before COVID was hurricanes, climate change, major hurricanes happening to our brothers and sisters in Puerto Rico and other parts of the Caribbean. And then, those folks, because of climate change, can't really stay on those islands anymore and are slowly matriculating to the mainland. And we noticed that there was starting to be a large population of homelessness and that there wasn't enough inventory or what we thought was enough housing inventory available. And then coupled by our governor, our current legislature, constantly taking funds away from the Sadowski funds, which is goes to HUD, which helps, families that fall at a certain poverty level, housing, right? Support around housing, right? So combination of that, stealing money, combination of influx of a large growing in our population, and then COVID, really just monkey wrenches left and right when it came to just affordability here. And we are not only just the climate change, but also the influx of Midwesterners coming down, snowboards, retiring, coming down to the state, especially during COVID, because we were wide open and everybody else was shut down. So, the inventory is getting picked up, which makes the demand higher, right? And starts to price people out. So past 4 years, we've been trying to figure out how do we create a renter's bill of rights, a tenant bill of rights, how do we really alleviate some of this pain? So long story short, some good news happened August 9th. We were able to win rent stabilization and get that on the ballot for November, which is really huge. One key thing that it does is that and it makes sure that landlords cannot increase rent more than 5%, because what we've been seeing is landlords increasing rent at astronomical pieces. We've had stories of people paying $1,000 in rent, and then their rent increased at $500, and now they have to pay 15 grand, right? And this is you get a month notice. So another piece that it passed in another committee hearing was 60 days notice. So they also have to give 60 days notice as a large part of this, the work effort that we've been doing. But that is on the ballot. It gives Orange County residents a real opportunity to vote, to make sure that, you know, renters don't keep paying these astronomical rent increases. So it goes into effect for 1 year, which will help to alleviate a lot of folks' stress and pain, right? So it passed the dais with a 4-3 vote. And right now, currently, there's a lawsuit coming from the Realtors Association. So, you know, we'll have to keep, again, once you get the thing done, you got to keep advocating for the thing, because they might take the thing from you. So it's like you constantly have to stay engaged. So yes, huge win. And I will say it's the first ever for a municipality ever inside the country to ever get rent stabilization put on the ballot.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for explaining that. You know, I would have been homeless many times if it wasn't for affordable housing. I just want to let your audience know I'm from New York. I was in New York for 50 years and been active with 1199 for over 40 years. And we vote for those people that 1199 endorse. And because we vote for those people, we hold them accountable for things that we want. And affordable housing is one of them. So I just want to say, if it wasn't because of the union that I joined to, and we all our elected official accountable, I would have been homeless many times. So you hear it right here. Please go out and vote for those people who have you at heart. And please vote, because affordable housing, the price is out of this world. So please, let's go out and vote. The power is in our hand. Don't let them take the power away, because people have power, don't give it up easy. And once we give away the power, we don't get it back easy. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And we will be in touch, my sister.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And until next time, actually next week, we're going to be hearing from champions for Trinidad and Tobago as they celebrate their 60th independence. So until then, one love, and go out and vote. And we'll see you soon. Thank you again from Caribbean Diaspora Vibes. Have a good night.
Thank you.